Oftentimes, history remembers things from the perspective of Europe.
While they have made great strides, the rest of the world has just as much rich history to immerse oneself in.
Today we will be focusing on accomplishments outside of Europe that helped their rise to international success and domination from 1750 to 1914. P.S. There's a lot of borrowed ideas and lucky cooperation from locals.
Europe is remembered as the discoverers of America when it really was the Vikings that first arrived, creating the settlements in North America in the 10th to 11th century.
Until their settlements disappeared mysteriously. Ooh, spooky.
And when they did get there, if it weren't for the Native Americans teaching them farming techniques, all of the European settlers would have died from starvation. What in starvation?
But as generous as they are, the Europeans did pay them back by killing 25 to 50% of their members from disease. With the Native Americans out of the way, Europe could begin their domination of North America.
Now in the 1500s through the 1700s was a scientific revolution where all these new crazy ideas that came about altering Europe's history forever. Forever.
But it is oftentimes grazed over that Islam had an advantage in science, and Arab scholars thrived in math, astronomy, optics, medicine, and libraries. And China's elite culture was less burdened by religious drama, which also gave them an advantage. While Europe was distracted in spreading Christianity to the rest of the world, the rest of the globe was trying to understand cosmos. And many other countries, like Arab countries and India, have long known about the scientific method way before Europe.
The Indian Ocean Trade Network was one of the first long-distance trade networks. It was run by multiple empires,
but particularly dominated by the Portuguese. Portuguese, honk.
The Portuguese had advantages with their knowledge of the spice trade and in military with their cannons, but the party was over when in 1620s Iranian ships teamed up with the British ships to take over Indian Ocean trade.
Then, in the 1800s, the Industrial Revolution emerged, which was a manufacturing and inventing phase where the foundation of many modern-day technologies were invented.
While it mainly boomed in Europe, many countries and inventions stimulated it. Example, textiles from India and the steam engine in America, to name a few.
One of Europe's main goals was to expand and dominate the globe.
This was apparent in their domination of India, the Islamic Empire, North America, and during the scramble for Africa. As the Europeans would come into and colonize these places, many elite retained their status and practiced a small range of legal authority, which was the selling point to the Europeans gave them for their submission and cooperation that greatly helped the Europeans in their imperialistic goals.
It's time we give attention to those behind the scenes, setting the stage for Europe's rise to power, affecting places and the people who live there. The spread of ideas, political reform, economic change, power shifts, and
so while
so
Europe
much more.
had many accomplishments, they couldn't have done it without a little help.
So, thank you for watching, and remember, think of the bigger picture rather than just that of who's telling the story.